The crisp air of autumn bit at the cheeks of the five friends as they trudged deeper into the dense woods. They had chosen this remote location for its isolation, hoping for a weekend escape from their bustling lives. The campsite they'd marked on the map was a good 3 miles from the nearest trail, ensuring solitude. Or so they thought. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in streaks of fiery orange and deep purple, they came across the first trail marker. A doll, dirty and weather-worn, hung from a low branch by a length of frayed twine. Its head lolled to one side, one eye missing, and its matted hair danced in the faint breeze. "What the hell is that?" Sarah asked, her voice tinged with unease. "Probably some kid's idea of a prank," Jason replied, though his tone betrayed his own discomfort. They laughed it off nervously and pressed on. But a few yards further, they discovered more. Dolls, some dismembered, others impaled on branches, lined their path. Bloody handprints smeared across tree trunks glistened in the fading light. Etched into a smooth stone at the base of a tree were the words, "Turn back or perish." Emma shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around herself. "This isn't funny anymore. Maybe we should go back and miss out on the perfect campsite." Jason scoffed. "Come on, it's just some weirdo trying to scare people. Let's keep moving." Reluctantly, the group followed. They reached a clearing just as the last sliver of daylight faded. They quickly set up their tents and built a fire, its warm glow pushing back the encroaching darkness. But the oppressive silence of the woods was unnerving. Even the usual chorus of crickets and rustling leaves seemed absent. As they sat around the fire, attempting to lighten the mood with jokes and ghost stories, a faint sobbing drifted through the trees. The group fell silent, exchanging uneasy glances. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered. "Probably just an animal," James suggested, though he didn't sound convinced. The sobbing grew louder, joined by the crunch of footsteps circling their camp. The firelight cast long, flickering shadows, and the campers huddled closer together. "Whoever's out there, this isn't funny," Jason shouted into the darkness. His voice echoed, but there was no reply. The footsteps stopped, and for a moment, an eerie stillness enveloped them. Then, from the shadows, a guttural, wet noise broke the silence. It sounded like something, or someone, dragging something heavy across the forest floor. Emma clutched Sarah's arm. "We need to leave. Now." Before anyone could respond, the fire suddenly extinguished, plunging them into darkness. Panicked, they scrambled for their flashlights, their beams cutting through the night. But the woods seemed to close in around them, the towering trees now oppressive and suffocating. "Where's Jason?" James's voice was barely a whisper. They turned their flashlights to the spot where Jason had been sitting. His chair was overturned, his backpack discarded, but he was gone. "Jason!" Sarah called, her voice cracking. Only silence answered. The group's panic grew as they searched the area, their shouts echoing into the void. They found no trace of him, but their search led them back to the chilling trail markers. One of the dolls now had Jason's jacket draped over its shoulders, its single eye staring lifelessly at them. Emma began to sob, her breath coming in shallow gasps. "We're being hunted. We need to get out of here." James took charge, leading them back toward the trail they had come from. But the path seemed to twist and change, as if the forest itself was conspiring against them. The trees loomed closer, their gnarled branches reaching like skeletal fingers. Suddenly, Anna let out a blood-curdling scream. They turned to see her flashlight on the ground, its beam illuminating a smear of fresh blood leading into the underbrush. Anna was gone. "Oh my God," Sarah whimpered. "What is happening?" James grabbed her hand. "We'll find her. Just stay close." But as they pressed on, the sobbing returned, now interspersed with faint laughter. It echoed from all directions, disorienting and maddening. Sarah tripped and fell, her flashlight rolling away. When James helped her up, they realized they were surrounded by the trail markers. More dolls, more bloody handprints, and now pieces of clothing, a scarf, a shoe, a torn jacket, all belonging to their missing friends. Emma's scream cut through the night, and James and Sarah turned to see her being dragged into the darkness by a shadowy figure. Her terrified cries faded quickly, leaving only the oppressive silence once more. Now alone, James and Sarah clung to each other, their breaths ragged. "We have to keep moving," James urged, though his voice trembled. But the forest seemed endless, a maze with no escape. The laughter grew louder, closer. Shadows darted between the trees, and the air grew colder, biting at their skin. They stumbled into another clearing, and in the center stood a massive tree. Hanging from its branches were not just dolls but the lifeless bodies of their friends. Their eyes were wide with terror, mouths frozen in silent screams. At the base of the tree was a single word carved into the bark: "Welcome." Sarah let out a strangled cry, but before she could run, something lunged from the shadows. James tried to fight it off, but it was too strong, too fast. He watched helplessly as Sarah was dragged into the darkness, her screams echoing until they were abruptly cut off. James stumbled backward, tripping over roots and falling to the ground. His flashlight flickered and died, leaving him in complete darkness. The sobbing and laughter surrounded him, closing in. He felt hot breath on his neck, and then nothing. By morning, the forest was silent again. A group of hikers stumbled upon the abandoned campsite, the remnants of the fire cold and dead. They found no trace of the campers, only the dolls, the blooded handprints, and the word carved into the stone: "Perish."